It's interesting how people in this country have such an aversion to anything that looks or sounds like that. But you look at very modern countries in the Middle East, for example, like the United Arab Emirates. People go to Dubai, and this is a hotspot for the world's rich, for entertainers. And a lot of people go there who are pretty secular and pretty liberal. But everybody knows that when you go to Dubai or Riyadh, everybody knows the rules. And the rules are you don't disrespect Islam. And people seem to be okay with that. But for some reason in America, even the insinuation that you might have something like that for Christ, for the church, people say it's the handmaiden's tale.
Nick Fuentes drops a truth bomb right here. He's talking to Joel Webbon, and he goes off, speaking of these Middle Eastern countries and how they're allowed to have religious laws, to have actual laws that are enforced that say this is the religion and this is what you will abide by. And when it's Islam, people are okay. But if it was in America and it's Christianity, all of a sudden people pitch a fit. They get angry. They get upset. And we're going to watch the whole clip in just a second, so make sure you stay tuned. But I'm Jared Wright, and this is The Right Wing, and I dive into these clips every single day. If you like guys like Nick Fuentes, like Joel Webbon, people like that, I bring you these clips every day to make it easy on you to follow along, to see what's being said, to see what's going on in the world. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like, the follow, subscribe, all the buttons down below so that you can be here every single day. Let's just go ahead and dive into the rest of this clip, though, so that you can see the truth.
But like the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, gyrating in front of a man dressed up like Christ on a cross in a public parade, believe it or not, jail. Right away, jail. Right. Would you agree with that?
I would. I think I would agree with that. And I think that it's interesting how people in this country have such an aversion to anything that looks or sounds like that. But you look at very modern countries in the Middle East, for example, like the United Arab Emirates. People go to Dubai, and this is a hotspot for the world's rich, for entertainers. And a lot of people go there who are pretty secular and pretty liberal. But everybody knows that when you go to Dubai or Riyadh, for that matter, or any of these Gulf countries, which are very wealthy, very modern, technologically sophisticated, and cosmopolitan even, everybody knows the rules. And the rules are you don't disrespect Islam. And the whole country abides by that. And there's laws governing public displays of affection, modesty, all kinds of things. And nobody seems to have a problem because they know they don't mess around there. They take their religion seriously. And when you land at that airport, everybody knows you got to play by those rules. And people seem to be okay with that. But for some reason in America, even the insinuation that you might have something like that for Christ, for the church, people say it's the handmaiden's tale. It's Gilead. This is regressive. What is this? The Middle Ages? And maybe I'm more liberal than you. I don't know what the penalties would be specifically, but I think certainly the government needs to enforce some level of morality.
Yes.
This is the government's job, after all, to enforce morality, to enforce what is real, what is good for the nation, to enforce what the people need. And this nation needs to be Christian, and that's okay. It's okay to be enforced. And people say, you're forcing religion on me. What happened to freedom of religion? They actually talk about that in the podcast itself, the show, the episode, saying, if we're being honest, freedom of religion was never meant to entail Islam or Hindu or atheism or any of that stuff. It was about how can we all worship God? That way Protestants and Catholics and Orthodox don't kill each other here. They didn't anticipate the fact that Hindu and Islam would essentially take over the Western world. And here we are. So that's kind of what they're diving into here. Let's watch the rest of the clip, though.
Within reason. And I think what you're talking about when you say the perpetual indulgence, these are deliberately subversive, morally subversive. There's no positive good where that could be defended. I don't know that I would outlaw, let's say, heresy, because there should be room for religious debate. It's like there always has been in the church or at different councils and things like that. But something that is deliberately and intentionally meant to blaspheme and offend God and the morals of any decent person, I don't think there's any basis for that. And so Of course, in America, at the same time, we have a tradition of freedom of speech, but maybe we need to articulate what the basis of free speech is. Why is free speech good? If free speech is good insofar as we could debate about what form of government is best or what kind of society we should have, I'm willing to be more liberal when it comes to things like that. But filth, which it, like pornography, for example,
Right.
that's not political speech.
No,
And I don't think there's anything positively good. I don't even actually consider it speech.
it's not religious speech either.
No.
Although I have seen some Jews say that both abortion and pornography are Jewish religious sacraments
Which
to
is
them.
interesting.
Very interesting.
So I tend to agree. I don't, like I said, I'm probably not as conservative when it comes to religious law as maybe you are or some Protestants, or even for that matter, some traditional Catholics who say there should be no freedom of religion, which is, I think, what you're saying. But I certainly think that there should be some basic standards like they have in
Right.
Russia or any other country.
So
Wow. Nick really does just blow everybody away. People love this stuff, honestly. This movement is big. Ban pornography. Someone give me one example of how porn is a good thing. You can sit there and you can debate all you want, but that filth needs out of this country. It's destructive in every regard. It's not good for the people involved. It's not good for the people producing it. And it's not good for the people consuming it. So why do we allow it? It's protected under freedom of speech. And they nail it right here. They say a lot of these Jewish people actually think that that's part of their religion, abortions and pornography, and that it's okay. Rabbi Shmuley is selling dildos with his daughter. It's disgusting. It is filth. And as a nation, we should be okay with outlawing filth. We should be okay with saying this isn't good. We don't support that. We're going to get rid of it. And that's exactly what Nick says here, and Joel agrees with him. You know, Joel's a phenomenal pastor. If you don't follow him, he's great. There is no place for that. Yeah, you know what? We might be able to have some leniency when it comes to like interpretation of the one true God, the Christian God. But when it comes to other things, no. We're not allowing that in this nation. This was a Christian nation built on Christian principles. That is fact. Whether you like that or not, you can argue it. There's so many common arguments people try to make. They're not true. They aren't. This is a Christian nation. That was the beginnings of it. That's going to be the ending of it. Christ is king, America first. That is our movement, and that's what Nick is on right here, and that's what he goes off about. You need to understand that, and so does everybody else in the world, everybody else in America. We need to ban filth. We need to create a society worth living in for our children, and that is biblical, that is Christian, and that is what God wants for this nation. And if you think that as well, you need to follow along on this channel. I'm Jared Wright. This is The Right Wing. Make sure you hit all the buttons down below, the like, follow, subscribe. I bring it to you every single day. I bring you this content every day. Make it easy on you. So definitely follow along. And until then, I hope you have a great day.